Hey, it's Yesenia from Writer Mom, and I'm here today sharing a little bit of how I do my weekly and monthly goal planning and how I ensure that I'm always moving towards my yearly goals. So every Sunday evening or Monday morning, if I don't have time over the weekend, what I do is I sit down and I make some goals for myself. I check in on my previous goals from the week before, and I see how I did, do some reflecting, figure out what my goals for the next week are going to be. Now that starts with my monthly goals. Since it's the end of March, what I do first is I sit down and I look at my March goals. So I'm going to look at my goals from the month before and I'm going to see how I did there. I'm going to cross off anything that I was able to accomplish, and then anything that I wasn't able to do, it's going to go into the month of April. If there's any evaluating that I need to do, anything that needs to come off that list or anything new that needs to be on that list, this is when I do it. So the whole reason behind my monthly goals, first of all, goals work really well for me. It really helps me to write everything down. So I start at the beginning of the year. In late December, early January, I sit down and I think about the entire upcoming year and everything that I want to do, especially in my author business, but I'll also include any personal goals in there just because it helps me to have everything together. So I think about a few different things that I want to do in my author business, in my personal life, or anything else. I put it all together and I make a list. And then from there, I break that down into quarterly chunks just so it doesn't feel so overwhelming. I have a few different big things that I can be working on. And if I can do that, then I know I'm going to be able to stay on track for the whole year. So whenever I'm setting these weekly and monthly goals, I'm always referring back to those quarterly or yearly goals so that I know what I'm supposed to be working on. If you ever have trouble with when you sit down to work, you don't know what you're supposed to be working on, or you feel like if you write down goals and then you forget about them, this process really helps with that. So basically what you're doing is you're making sure that everything is aligned. So you can either start with your yearly goals and kind of work from there and break them down, or you can start with some kind of daily or weekly goal, like maybe a certain word count or amount of time that you want to be working on your book, and then you can kind of work backwards from there to figure out how many books you can do this year and set a yearly goal from there. So either way works. So what works for me is I start from yearly and then I go down to quarterly and then focus mostly on the quarterly, and then from there I can do monthly, weekly, and daily goals. So at the beginning of every month, what I do is I look at the previous month and I see everything that I was able to do, and then from there I'm going to be looking at my next month's goals. So referring to last month's goals and my quarterly goals, that's how I'm going to figure out my April goals. So for March, I had a few different things that I was going to be working on. I had some business tasks to catch up on, which I was able to do. I had a brain dump that I needed to do, just a lot of ideas swimming around in my head that were kind of overwhelming me and stressing me out, and so I sat down and did that. I got our 2016 taxes done. I read 4 or more books, and I had some health goals too that I started on. And then the one big goal that I wasn't able to do was to revise and publish Someday, which is my next YA fiction book. So just looking at that I know that's going to probably be my big goal for April. And then I'm also going to refer back to my yearly and quarterly goals to see what else I need to be doing for the month of April. So my first major goal for April is to finish the Whole30, and this is primarily a personal or health goal. I'm already 2 weeks in. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's basically 30 days of clean eating, elimination, detox kind of thing. I'm halfway through. So for April, my first goal is to finish that, and then my next goal is to finish this challenge. So SSS Veda, jumpstarting this Writer Mom YouTube channel because I've been wanting to start a YouTube channel for a while. I think it'd be fun. So this is going to be happening throughout the whole month of April. My next major goal, and this will be my main goal because it's basically the one that's focused on my author business, and that's to edit Someday. And then the next goal after that is to publish. So I was supposed to hit publish last month. I wasn't able to do that. I've just had a lot going on in March. So for April, that's my main writing focus, is to finish the edits and hit publish on that book. And then I have a few other goals here that I want to do. I'm the kind of person that, like, I tend to put in too many goals and then kind of shoot for the stars. That may not work for you. You don't want to be overwhelmed either. So, but this works for me. So I have like a few other different goals that I'm also working on, and I know that I probably won't get to all of them, but I just like to write them down and know that they're kind of on my plate as well. So my next goal after that, hopefully when I send that book off to my review team, is to transition Savvy Authorpreneur to Writer Mom. So like the website, the mailing list, social media, all of that. So that's like something that I can do in just a few days. After that, I have an autoresponder that I need to work on. I want to read 4 books, aiming for about a book a week there. The Smarter Artist Summit will be at the end of the month, and I'll be there. I'm really excited about that. So I have some prepping to do there. And then I have this course that I'm working on, so I want to make progress there. So that I'm putting that down, even though I know I probably won't make like huge progress there because my main focus is to work on that book. But it's still something that I know I can spend a few minutes on, especially while I'm taking a break from the book. And then I want to republish my services page, and that's just like one little task that shouldn't take that long, but I want to make sure that gets done because I do want to start offering my editing services again. So now that I have my monthly goals worked out, since it's the beginning of the week, I also need to sit down and work on my weekly goals. So that's how I set my monthly goals, and in the next video I'm going to show you how I break those down into my weekly goals. So I'll see you in the next video. If you don't want to miss out on these videos, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you chime in below, and I will see you next time. So